Hey you guys, it's Amber J. Lee, and today I want to talk about something that is highly requested. I posted a comment about it, and long story short, I dated a married man for a year and a half and did not know. It's not a Risa Tisa moment. I don't think I went through half the shit she went through, but I went through a lot. Long story short, an old friend of mine, we met downtown to go meet at a bar. They were coming from work, and I was like, okay, well, you want to go get some drinks after work? Little drink and eat. And they were like, sure. Like, they were telling me their work day was stressful, so boom, we go downtown, we get some to drink. This is a guy, mind you. He's a good friend of mine. We're still friends. So we go downtown, we go to this lounge type situation, and we ordering around the drinks, and we are grabbing some food, and we're chatting it up. So in my city, after a certain time, lounges turn into clubs. Like, I can't explain it. If you in a party scene, you know what I'm talking about. Like, lounges that would be regular hookah lounges, they turn into clubs. Like around the 9 o'clock-ish mark, they started charging for entry. More people started to come out. Everybody had on like club attire, because it's a Friday afternoon. Excuse how I look. I got a little bun action going on. But yeah, so now it's a club, right? So we're still sitting in the same seat. We're still here from, I guess, the happy hour, like the afternoon hour type situation. An older Nigerian man walks in, and he is with two people. He's with a woman and a man. Like, we all dancing and stuff like that. So as the night go on, he comes over to our table and he's like, hey, can I buy your friend a drink? Because I guess he didn't know if we were together. But I think what gave him the green light for him to come over is because I was up in the middle of the floor dancing with another man. So I guess he was like, all right, if she's with him, she wouldn't be dancing with another man. So I think that's what prompted him to come over. Because once I sat down, he came right over and was like, hey, can I buy Shorty your drink? And so my friend like, buy her a drink. No, my friend was like, if you buy me one too. So he laughed. Be all laughing here. So he sends over two French 75s, because that's what I love to drink. The night getting over, it's like 11. I'm leaving. He like, oh, could I have your number? He stopped me before I can get down the steps. He's like, oh, can I have your number? I think you're very beautiful. Yada 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 yada. So I take his number. Great. The very next day is a Saturday. We are now going out to eat. Like, that very next day, we go out to eat, we drinking, we talking, went to this nice Indian restaurant, and the Indian restaurant was so fucking cool. Like, I remember it had sand underneath. Fucking nice. It was really nice. Picked me up like around 6 or 7. I didn't end up getting home until like 2 a.m. Like, we had a ball. It was almost like we immediately connected, right? This is where it gets messy. On the date, I remember him telling me, and he was a practicing lawyer, was 39 years old, he was single, no kids, right? So usually men in higher careers like that make money, they tend to be married. Because that guy that night, he was with his wife. So they tend to be married. And it could be guy hanging out with because they said they're related. So guys hanging out with his cousin and his wife. That's normal. That's normal, because my friend is married and I hang out with her and her husband often. So he's like, all right, practice a lawyer, da 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 da. He said they're both lawyers, yada yada yada. The woman is just his wife. Cool. All makes sense. I would never think it's a lie in there. No signs of being married, no ring, no nothing, right? We dated for like 2 more months before we started taking trips. Lie to you not, I swear to God, our first trip together was Miami. Yeah, we started traveling, and this man was with me. We started doing weekly dates. It was to the point where he was taking me to the spa. He was paying for me to get my nails done. Like, I thought I was on top of the world. Like, I fell in love. Like, I fell in love. Giving me payments for my car. I don't like usually dating men that older than me. Like, he had me by 14 years. So I didn't really like that. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to just put up with it because I really like this guy. Pick me up in these nice black cars. He's like, you want to go to D.C.? Do you want me to pay for this? Like, he's like, oh, what you want for your birthday? He the one who got me my very first Chanel bag, my black Chanel bag. I call her Tabitha. I love her to death. People always say, like, girl, how do you have all these nice things? That nigga bought it for me. That's what I always tell people. Don't try to keep up with me. Don't try to keep up with me. I hate when girls say, oh, you always have something new. What do you do? Don't try to keep up with me. A man bought that. Okay? Life was really magical. Like, last March, literally 2 weeks before I found out, before everything went to hell, he took me to New York. He bought me my white Chanel bag. I literally was living on cloud nine. Right? I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like the more I look back, it was some red flags there that I kind of ignored. Like, sometimes I never heard from him for long hours. But I'm a registered nurse, and I'm assuming he's a lawyer, so I'm thinking, okay, it's probably long days. So I didn't really think it was a red flag. Or like I would text him one morning and then like he probably wouldn't text me back until the next day. Like sometimes that would happen and I would tell him about it and he'd be like, oh, you know, long day, I go home, I text. Like, so I didn't really think nothing of it. Like I do that sometimes. Like sometimes my friend will text me and I do 12, 14-hour shifts. So sometimes I won't see that shit until I get home and then hit the bed. I'm like, oh, girl, I didn't even see you text me yesterday. I was at work. So I do that. So I didn't think that when he did it, it was a problem because I do that and I have done that to him before. When you getting weekly dinner dates and this man is treating you like you're the Cinderella movie, you gon' like the things that you normally would complain about, you're not going to complain about because you don't want this to be over. And my crazy thing is I don't talk on the phone. So when we did talk on the phone, we never talked on the phone long. I don't like talking on the phone. So it was like I was perfect. I was perfect to hide. I will only call him as if I'm outside the restaurant, like, oh, hey, I'm here. But he would have to call me first for us to talk on the phone. I don't ever call men first. That's a problem of mine anyway. I don't ever call men first. So that's another reason why it was just so easy for him to hide me because he know I was never going to call his damn phone. It would literally have to be an emergency, and even then I'm calling my mother first, but it would have to be an emergency, like something so bad, and I'm like, hey, babe, but I never called within that year. I never called first. He always called me first. I fall in love. So this is where it all fell apart, right? This is where it all fell apart. This is where it started to get rocky. Only issue we have is him, like, sometimes not texting me appropriately. The only thing I can think of. And sometimes when I'm at the W, like at the hotel, when I would leave, he would be going, like, when I would fall asleep, he would be going in the morning. The more I think about it, like, he would be going in the morning. He would say, oh, I have to go to work. But I don't know what he was actually doing. Here's how I found out he was married and had 4 children and 4 baby mothers, right? But a week before, he bought me my Chanel bag. He bought me this. And we were leaving. And somebody called him for fussing and yelling. And it seemed like they were about to have an argument. And so it changed up his whole fucking demeanor. Like, he was like, we got to go home now. Like, so we're driving back to our hometown. And he was silent the whole ride, like as if he was like in a rush. I'm like, and it sounded like a woman. So I'm like, you're single, childless, you're the only child. Who else could that be? So he like, I got some business I gotta take care of. I gotta get back to the office. At that point, I didn't want to question it because his energy was just so dark. We sat in silence and I put my AirPods in the whole way home. So boom, we get home. His birthday is 2 weeks after this, right? So I didn't hear from him 2 days after that. He finally called me like, oh my gosh, I had so much going on in my life. You know, baby, how can I make it up for you? I miss you. And I'm like, oh no, it's fine. Because I'm still Delulu. I'm still living in like, this man is treat me right land. So, oh, you know, my birthday is another red flag that I realized that I noticed is that he didn't tell me he was going out the country for his birthday. He just was saying, oh, in 2 weeks, I'm going out the country. My birthday is coming up. We've been traveling together for the longest, but for some reason you didn't invite me. So, and I remember we had an argument about that. I was like, why you didn't invite me? Like, because, you know, it was last minute. You can't take off of work. And again, he was right. I can't take off of work. I'm a nurse. Like, you can't, if you're going to take a long period of times off, you have to put time in. And then I was within my 90-day period. At my job, like, when you pick up as a PRN nurse, if somebody else doesn't pick it up, you have to show up because they're counting on you. And then you only got a certain amount of calls before they drop you, and you got to work to keep your license active. So I was like, oh damn, I can't. I already picked up like 2-3 days because I like my own pocket money. I always like to work. Like I always been that girl to work. So I'm like, damn, you're right. I can't just go. I went for 2.5 weeks. I'm going with my bros. That's a long ass time. But he said he was going like with 10 other people. The money he was bringing in, the money I was seeing, that should not. I don't see that as somebody. He couldn't afford to do that. Like he couldn't afford to do that. He can afford to go for 2 weeks in another country and hit different spots. Like, he can do that. The night before we was at his apartment, it did not seem like, at the apartment he brought me to, which he said was his, it didn't seem like a woman lived there. Come to find out, it was one of his friend's apartment. His friend had an apartment that he owned, an apartment that he sold out, like one of them little rooms. So I thought that, okay, this is a single man. This is all his stuff. It wasn't his stuff. It was his friends. He was bringing me there saying it was his home. So I didn't question why I never been to your home. Because I would have asked that, like, why are we always in hotels? Why I never go to your house? So we was doing his house and we was going to, like, really nice, fancy hotels. And I'm not going to question it because it's like, I like these hotels. Like, the W is nice. The Marriott on the water is nice. So I'm thinking he's just trying to get out the house. No, whole time he couldn't bring me back home to him. Okay, like about to leave for his flight, I'm texting him like, good flight, good thing that, all that. But like hours before he leave, he's not responding. Because I remember he told me his flight time and everything. He's not responding. Like that date of, he's not responding. I don't hear from him. Like, and I'm like, this is weird. He would always text me like, oh, this and like, even when I'm asleep, he would always text me like good morning. Like he always would text me. So I'm like, okay, you're not at work, so why are you not texting me? Maybe he's just really fucking enjoying himself. Like he's like excited. Mind you, it was a group of them that went. So I'm like, maybe he's just with his friends and he not texting nobody back right now. Okay, cool. Like he don't have time, or maybe he doesn't text me back because he don't have time to keep the conversation. I'm making all these excuses as to why he's not texting me back. So, boom. I don't know how, but I didn't hear from him for a whole entire 2 weeks. It was like he fell off the face of the earth. Like, I hear from this man. I'm concerned. I'm thinking he died. I'm calling the air. Like after the second day, I'm calling the airline. I had the girl that I met at the bar earlier. I had her on Instagram. I'm messaging her. She's saying, oh no, so she's like, oh girl, no sorry, my husband didn't go on the trip. The next thing you know, I'm blocked. I'm like, maybe he ghosted me. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, maybe he ghosted me. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, but we had a great night the night before. That can't be right. So I'm like going on Facebook, looking up his friends, everything, messaging his friends like, this man, I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. This is and the third. Like, I'm going fucking berserk because this was my boyfriend. This is my boyfriend. We weren't in a relationship. Like, what the fuck, right? And men invest in what they love. So I'm like, you not just want to drop me like that and no signs of nothing. Like, so I'm thinking, I'm looking for funeral, obituary, kidnapping. I'm looking for something because this is weird. Child. So 2 weeks go by and I'm at work. I'm still feeling a little weird. I'm kind of like, I'm crying actually at this point. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm crying. I'm very depressed because I don't know what happened and nobody's responding to me. It was like nobody responded to my request. Only that lady responded and she blocked me. Right? And so his friends, like, and I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of the pages that his friends had, they were inactive. Like they were inactive Facebook pages and I didn't know their Instagram. And you know how you try to paste the Instagram, like their ad name on Facebook onto Instagram? It was not there. And Nigerians, older Nigerians, I don't see them on Twitter. Like they don't have Twitter and they damn sure, and he didn't have TikTok. Like they didn't have TikTok. So every single social media platform you could think of, my ass was searching that shit up. First name, last name didn't come up. So I'm like, okay. So I went out, right, with my other friend one night, and I was telling her about it. She said, search him up in True People. Search him up in True People. So I searched up his first and his last name. Why the city, the state, and the age 44 comes up. And one of the addresses, like that he was taking me to, that came up. So I'm like, okay. And then it said, you know how it says, like, but 2 other addresses came up. So you know how, like, when you search that up, it says, might also know such and such and such and such. So I seen somebody with the same last name and a different first name. So I'm like, should I text this number? My friend like, text the number. Like, that may be his sister. Text to see what the fuck happened to him. Like, he may have passed away. Like, or da-da-da-da. So I text the number. I'm like, hey, I haven't spoken to my boyfriend in 2 weeks. He told me he was taking a trip out the country and he was stopping to his hometown. I don't know what's going on. If you can just reach back out. It was like a very polite message, right? So I didn't hear anything back from that number for a day. The very next day, a woman fucking calls me and she's like, and she has a strong fucking accent. So she's like, hello? I can hear the fucking attitude as soon as she picks up the phone. I'm like, hello? She's like, you text me? I'm like, yeah, have you seen such and such and such? So she's like, my husband. And I'm like, I immediately knew it was some fuck shit. I said, my boyfriend. So I sent her pictures of me and him. She said, oh, girl. And she hangs up the phone. So I'm like, my heart is racing. I'm like, holy fucking shit. So I'm calling her. I'm FaceTiming her. I'm calling her on FaceTime. I'm FaceTiming her. She's denying my call. So she finally calls me back like 10 minutes later. And she's like, I'm not here to argue with you. I'm not here to have anything with me. She said, my husband and your boyfriend, you know he's in jail? Not my boyfriend. She said, yes, ma'am, your boyfriend. She said, you know how old I am? She was like, I'm 40 years old. She said, I have a 1-year-old child. She said, do you know how many kids he have? You want this problem? She said, you know how many kids he has? She said, he has 3 kids with women all over the city. She said, he lied to me. So I'm thinking this woman is fucking saying anything because she want me off his ass. It's not true, girl. That lady sent me 3 pictures of 3 different women. And I don't want to post these women because hold on, y'all. My heart, right? My heart was racing so bad to the point where I called my friend, I called her on my other phone, and I let her, like, I put the girl on speaker and I let her listen. I put her on mute. Like, I had to put a old school, a fucking middle school shit, bitch. I'm like, yo, listen to this lady. I'm like, she's saying he's married. So she sent me all these pictures of him at gender reveals. Yeah, gender reveal of one girl. Come to find out, one of the girls, I was following her. I was following her, right? But she didn't post. Why I go on that girl Instagram and she put like you know how they put the lock emoji like somebody locked up. She put that and then she put a picture of her and the little boy, and that was his son. That lady was not lying. So I was like, so my friend texted me like, go girl, go on the girl Instagram. I'm like, I just went, cause mind you, while she's on the phone talking, I'm like looking this shit up, like, and so my friend texted me, she sent me a screenshot, cause my friend doing her research too, cause the girl is like dropping names, dropping ages. So I'm like, hold on, I'm looking. And so at this point, me and the girl, we're not even arguing anymore. We just talking, telling each other like stories of, like, about this and the third. She was like, and I married this man. She said, I'm married. She said, this is my husband. So I did a little research on the phone. I don't know what the other two baby moms look like, but I do know that one of the baby moms, she said, is 20. The other baby mom is 27, and then one of the other baby moms is 29. Yeah, she's 29, and the one he married was 40. She was 40. Yep, she was 40. And so she was saying, like, I got with him because I didn't think he didn't have any kids, and she didn't want any kids. He begged her for a baby because he said he wanted a baby, not knowing that he already had kids. And look, here's the kicker. He was fucking 35 messing with a 16-year-old because when he met his first baby mom, the one that was 20, she's 20. She got to be 22 now. When she was 20, little girl was 16. She was 16. So he was a creep on top of all that. So she's like breaking down. This lady, she sounds like she's having a mental breakdown. Like, she's screaming at the phone at this point. She's like, I have a child. I'm not this and the third. She said, I'm always finding out. She said, I'm not yelling at you. She said, but I'm always finding about another bitch. Like, she's going on. And I'm like sympathizing with her. I'm like, all right, at this point. So I was like, he's a lawyer. He can afford. She said, a fucking lawyer. She was like, a lawyer. Like, it was like she kept laughing at everything I was saying because it was not true. He was 44 years old. He was not a lawyer. He was doing insurance, tax, and credit card fraud. He caught him at the airport where he was going with weed, and where he was going, you can't bring drugs in. So he sat down for a few months. So the lady's like, you know, my husband, she said, my husband ain't shit. She said, mama, it's really not your fault. So we began talking for like another good 20 minutes about like what he was doing to me and what he was doing for me. And he was fooled, how she was fooled and she was tricked. She said, and that he didn't tell her that he was a lawyer. She told me that he was a realtor and that he owned a few buildings downtown. He was always in business meetings. So he was telling me and her the same shit. For me, it was a lawyer. But my thing is, and then I found out that he had 3 phones. He had 3 phones. And the crazy thing is, after that, it just was like silent. Like, and I still don't know what the other 2 baby moms look like, but I know they're there because I see him with different babies, and all these babies, like, she sent me pictures of him with different babies, and all these babies look fucking different. All these babies look different. All these babies look different. So he was like, yeah, he got 3 other kids. So she was like, I found out about 3 other kids after my kid was born. So her baby is 1. She was like, but I haven't been with this man for a long time. She's like, she hasn't been with him. She hasn't having sex with him. Because, like, girl, I haven't been into him in so long. She said, we still married, but this is just on paper. Like, that's not to, like, I don't care what he does. She said, at this point, I'm 40 years old. I'm focusing on raising my child. And one thing about Nigerian women, they don't want to be a single mom. Like, they don't want to be a single mom, so they'll just put up with what they got to put up with until the child turns 18, and then they'll leave. And I think she was on that type tip because she kept saying, my son needs a father, my son needs a father. So she was giving me, I'm not leaving, my son needs a dad. But I'd rather you be a single mom than date that piece of shit. But guess what? Emotions was high. I'm not in the space to tell you what to do with yourself, my mom, right? And plus, you're 40. I'm 26. I get a job going full time because I'm like, fuck. Like, what am I going to do? I gotta provide for myself. So then one day, right? I get a message on Instagram. Somebody put the eyes from a fake page and put, I miss you. And this actually happened 2 weeks ago. This will bring me prompt to tell my story. I blocked it because I think it's him. And it's like, I don't want to reach back out to you. And I still haven't reached out to the second baby mom who I was following. I just unfollowed her. But I wonder if she knew, if the wife went back and told her. But I don't know. Because I get like over like 2,000 views on my Instagram story. I'm not looking through all that. So I don't know if she watched my story, but she never reached out to me. But when I do click on her story, she do post her son, and that little boy looks just like him. As I'm watching this back, I forgot to say, when he was detained at the airport, it was enough for him to sit down for a few days, but it wasn't a lot where like the feds got involved. They just took the weed from him and like he sat down for a little bit. So this is what the wife says. I don't know if this is fucking true or not, but I don't know what happened. I don't know how true it is, and she said that this is his first offense, so he wouldn't be there long, which I kind of do believe because earlier the year of last year, and now somebody reached out to me, put the eyes, so, and I think it is him, so it could be, because she said this is a misdemeanor, it's his first offense, so they took the weed and he sat down for a little bit, but yeah.